What would you give 17-year-old Maria Ho as your one piece of advice, and that's all you got to give?
I think it would have to be to basically pave your own way and to stop caring about what other people think or what society asks of you.
All right, welcome everybody to the Moon with yours truly, the Stock Guy. Every week, we are going to be deep diving into conversations about life, finance, stocks, and careers with all kinds of unique and talented guests from all over the world, all over the business, and even the sports world. It's going to be here live on this channel, and today is episode 1, and I couldn't think of a better guest to bring on. I just want to, before I announce her in here, I just want to throw out a few things here. Number one, we're talking about a professional poker player who comes in with 63 World Series of Poker cashes, 5 World Series of Poker final tables, 13 World Poker Tour cashes, and 4 World Poker Tour final tables, inducted into the Women's Poker Hall of Fame, 2019 Global Poker Award Broadcast of the Year, and with an ungodly amount of talent. And here she is, just for you guys, here live on the show, Maria Ho. Maria, welcome in.
Hi, what's up? I'm happy to be here. You're a pretty great hype man, I have to say. So thank you for the intro.
Caffeine in a live audience does wonders. All right, so before we get started, I promised my community I would not embarrass them. And I lied to them. So in order to get more comfortable, I have decided that I feel like this is the only appropriate thing. So I'm just going to go ahead and get ready for, because I was watching one of your interviews and you said that one of your best talents was your ability to read people and see a poker face and see when somebody's bluffing. So I don't think I need to worry about that here, but this is just how we're going to get this rocking and rolling because I feel like this is more comfortable for me. Actually, I'm lying. I can't see anything. All right.
No, I get it. So, I was going to say, just in case you don't want me to get a read on you. So.
Oh God! Just watch my hairline and you'll be able to see the receding there. No, but seriously, no. Thank you so much for coming in. This is really exciting. This is a whole new series that we're doing, and I just wanted to bring in people with just awesome, interesting stories. People that had amazing backgrounds and amazing careers, and to see how you got there and what it's like being on the top of your game and what your future's like. Because we have so many young people here on this platform, and a lot of them are kind of figuring out what they want to do and what's the path. And, you're a great example of somebody who took the path, less traveled. I mean, I seriously doubt when you were a small kid that you thought, hey, I'm going to be a poker pro one day.
Yeah, I definitely, when I was a small kid, was not planning on being the disappointment of my parents and being the black sheep of the family. So no, I had no idea that this is where I would end up.
So walk me through that. So I know I saw some of your story. You guys had immigrated from Taiwan, correct? And you were just a small child, and you guys came here to the States. What happened to little Maria that said, you know what, I'm going to disappoint my family, but I'm going to be a poker pro? How did we transition? How did we get there? What was like that first thing that led you on that path?
I think that as a young child, I was always kind of a rebel without a cause. And I was the type of person that would go against the grain. And the more that any type of authority figure would push me in one direction, or my parents would try to pigeonhole me into this life of academia, as so many, especially coming from an Asian background, our parents are huge sticklers for, school and education is everything. We don't want you to have any kind of side hustle. We don't want you to have any extracurricular activities or hobbies. Like, that was not at all what they emphasized growing up. And I think that I really fought against that every step of the way. So the more that they told me I couldn't do something, the more I wanted to do it, right? And so when I first discovered poker, but I mean, let's be real, everyone's a little scared of their parents. I have especially terrifying parents. My mom is definitely a tiger mom. And so I was scared and I didn't tell them. But once I latched onto this idea of like, wow, could I possibly play poker for a living? I just immediately gravitated towards it because I knew that it was the antithesis of every single thing my parents wanted me to be doing. And there's like an allure, especially when you're young, the attraction of upsetting your parents and going in a completely different direction was a little appealing. Like, I'm not going to lie.
I mean, it was either that or a tattoo and a motorcycle. So I guess at the end of the day, it wasn't as bad as it could be. So what was your first experience with poker? Was it like at a friend's? Did you just like get pushed into it? Is it something you saw on TV? Like, what was your first poker game? How did that come about?
Yeah, so it was my first year in college. I was living in the dorms, and I had a group of guy friends who every Friday night, they would kind of disappear and they would never invite me, even though on other nights I was always invited out. But specifically on Friday nights, never got the call up. And I was like, what is going on here? Clearly they're doing something without me. And so I just showed up. I knocked on their door. I found out they had a poker game going. They told me I couldn't play. And the next week I showed up with a free keg of beer because, I mean, broke college kids always could use free beer, right? A little bit of a bribe. I guess you could call that my first ever buy-in. My first buy-in was beer and not real money. And they let me play and I was immediately hooked. Like, don't get me wrong. I had no idea what I was doing. I knew nothing about the game, but I loved the competition and the strategy. And I also love the fact that they didn't want me to play to begin with. So I was like, okay, this is something exciting. I got to come back every week. I'm crashing this poker game, whether you guys like it or not.
So basically, if anyone ever wants you to do something, they just need to tell you not to do it or that you can't do it.
Yeah, apparently.
All right, good. Then I got something at the end of the show I'm going to tell you can't do, and we're going to see if it works. Okay, so you're in college. You find the the guys' night out. You crash the party. You start playing poker. At what you started learning the game. You started doing it. What was the point where you said to yourself, I think I could actually make a living doing this?
I don't think there was an aha moment of like, okay, I could actually make a living. It was just a few years where I was playing on the side and I was still in school and I was making all of my extra income in college from playing poker. And I was like, okay, so this is just my fun money. This is the money that I can spend on a weekend out with friends, but also I'm going to use it to play more poker. And then eventually it got to this point where I'm like, I went through my entire college, the 4 years, not having another job and simply living off of my poker winnings in essence. And I was like, so maybe just maybe, if I can progress and keep moving up stakes and get to that next level, I could just say F the degree I got and do this instead. And so that was also very attractive to me. But I didn't really necessarily know if I could get there. It was just a thought that like, okay, this could potentially work.
What was that conversation like though? Because I'm trying to imagine, like I grew up in a very religious part of the country, right? And I'm trying to imagine somebody going home to their ultra-religious parents and saying, Mom, Dad, I'm an atheist or something, right? Like I'm trying to imagine what that conversation was like when you went to your parents and said, Mom, Dad, I'm not doing what I went to college for. I'm going to be a poker player. How did that go?
I mean, let's be real. I have an older sister who has a PhD and she is everything a parent would ever want, right? And so I've had years of dealing with disappointing my parents. So I was ready emotionally for the hit that I was about to deliver them, but I definitely hid it from them for a long time. In fact, again, throughout college, they had no idea I picked this up as a hobby, but I graduated and walked in my college ceremony. And then I flew straight to Vegas to play in my first World Series of Poker. And they had no idea. They thought I was on a post-graduation getaway with a couple of college friends. And then it wasn't until, several months after, because I had told them I made this deal. I was like, guess what, guys? I'm going to go to grad school. You let me have a year off between undergrad and grad school. And I promise I will go get my MBA in business administration. This is going to be amazing. But I just want a year off to travel the world with the money that I've saved up and, hang out with my friends. And they actually were okay with that. But the whole year I was playing poker. So then it wasn't until that whole year was up that I was like, okay, now I think I've got to come clean to my parents. And when I told them, it was really hard. And there were this is no joke. And this is not meant for people to feel bad for me, but my parents are so hardcore that they talked about disowning me. And I don't think they were kidding. like they're hardcore. They were like, you know, Maria, like this does not fit well with how we raised you. And, you know, we don't really want to claim you as one of ours right now, was essentially what the conversation was like.
Reminds me of one of my mods. So basically what I'm hearing here is that Maria Ho is the one person everyone wants in their friend group, because everything I've heard so far, it's just like a wild ride, like in the best possible way. Like, you know, you've managed to, you know what, I'll take on the world. Like, I don't care what anyone says. I want to forge my own path. I want to do what I know. I know there's going to be consequences. I know there's going to be setbacks, but it's the path I want to ride. So, I was just talking about your accomplishments as we got into, into the show, and I saw so many other things, like, you were inducted into the Women's Poker Hall of Fame, and you 2007 you placed 38th in the World Series of Poker championship. I mean, you've had some major cashes, some major wins and whatnot. But I'm also curious, like, to kind of give people an understanding that it's not always sunshine and rainbows, right? So I was wondering, I like to look at, you invest in stocks, correct?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, because actually, this is a fun fact. Most people watching probably don't know this. Maria and I are actually, this isn't the first time we've been on a show together. Her and I are actually in the CNBC StockDraft together, and we are both getting our butts whooped right now because oh
my God, embarrassing.
I mean, I think other than Seymour and the other girl, we are just struggling right now. And we came out of can I be honest with you? The collective gasp from the CNBC host when you chose Amazon, I was just like,
I know.
Like, I mean, you said Amazon, your first pick, and they're all like, oh, I was like, okay, like, oh my God. Like, I mean, I felt like she just picked like some kind of penny stock. No, but DraftKings is great though. For NFL season, where is it at?
I do not understand what has happened to DraftKings. It is so incredibly disappointing, because I was going to choose between DraftKings or Roblox, and I was like, no, I got to go with my gut. And I kind of feel like DraftKings is more in my lane from like the sports betting poker standpoint. And I mean, get their shit together, right? Like, what's going on?
I mean, they got a lot of competition with the casinos now. You're in Vegas, Caesars and those guys are going hard with sports books and stuff. Okay, so back to what I was saying. So the reason I was asking about stock is more than anybody, it's about time in the market, and it's about the long game. Like I always tell people, zoom out, right? But when you zoom in, you see a lot of dips, right? And the most important thing is to buy the dips, right? Or hold, right? Diamond hands, right? Because it's going to go back up. And I feel like there's a lot of that actually, mirrors real life. Like a lot of times, we're on this path where we know that if we just get through the tough times, if we double down in the bad times, we do this, it'll get back. But sometimes it feels like, do I fold here or not, right? And so I'm very curious that, if you could. And I'm thinking about this. I may draw this on a chart to kind of show how it's like with a stock. Is there any way, and this is to put you a little bit on the spot, but is there any way you could give me the 2 highest points in your life that got you to where you are today, and maybe 2 of the lowest points, and what you learned and how that affected that journey?
Yeah.
I know this is deep, but I think it'd be great for people that are looking at it.
No, I totally get it. And I feel like for me, it's sometimes when people ask me about the low points, I'm like, well, shoot. I mean, I have so many to pick from, it feels like. I mean, I guess if for me, one of the main low points that I think got me to where I was is I think I definitely struggled when I was younger, especially, in my high school years, of just feeling really lost and not feeling like I fit in, not feeling like I kind of knew where I belonged. I think it was starting to be the age where, people are like applying for colleges, and people are either put on this path that is very traditional, that is very conventional, or they're choosing this path, like whether it's people who play sports and they already know, okay, I'm going to go to X, Y, and Z school because I play this sport and they're going to give me a scholarship, or if it's because, my sister or my mom is an alumni and they went to this school, so I'm going to go here. For me, there was a point when I didn't even think I was going to go to college because I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do, where I wanted to go. And I felt like I was living up to all of these other expectations that people had of me. And there was actually one year in high school where I almost flunked out completely because, I just stopped trying. Like, there's a point where I think there's so much pressure put on you by your family and by society where I just stopped trying and I failed out of the whole year. And then I ended up, only filling out one college application, and that was to the UC system because I didn't want to fill out multiple applications because I was so unmotivated by that kind of grind and just feeling like, what is this all for? I don't even understand, what the point of necessarily continuing with higher education is. So I just filled out one application. I'm like, I'm just going to put that out there. If I get into any of the University of California schools, then great. And I actually only got accepted into 2 schools out of the UC system, which I think has like 8 or 9. And I'm like, well, I guess that kind of makes my choice up for me because one of them was San Diego, which was closer to where I was from, which is LA. I was raised in LA, since I moved out here from Taiwan. And so I was like, okay, I guess I'm going to go here. But it was definitely a low point of feeling like, again, that I wasn't good enough. That I had no idea where I belonged, that I didn't know what I was going to do with my life. But I think once I went to college and I saw the kind of freedom that I was given in terms of being able to choose what I wanted to study and needing to have the self-discipline and that motivation to say, okay, today I'm going to show up to class. My mom is not going to wake me up. She's not going to, pull the covers off of my bed this morning and make me get out of bed and make me go to school. It's up to me if I want to have this education, if I want to finish and get a good education here now that I've been accepted and now that I chose to pursue it. I'm the one who has to show up. I'm the self-study at the end of the day and put in the time and the effort and the energy to proceed with this. And I think it just was the discipline that I was lacking. And maybe it just made me realize that I could be highly motivated by the right things. And I found a subject matter that I really loved in college. And I ended up graduating with a major in communications and a minor in law. And even though I didn't necessarily do anything along those lines, it still was something that was interesting enough to kind of capture my attention and just showed me that if given the right thing, I can absolutely be self-motivated and have the discipline to kind of thrive in an environment where you have to push yourself. Nobody else is going to do it for you.
Mm-hmm. It's really great for these guys to hear because I know a lot of people out there, especially youngers, that it doesn't matter what generation it is. You and I are from the last generation and now the next generation. It doesn't matter what generation it is. We all seem to have a lot of the same problems, whether it's motivation, whether it's the ability to fit in, whether it's the feeling of being lost in such an open world when there's so much expectations that pressure can just feel like it's crushing. And so many people, have to forge their own way nowadays because we're moving away from that. So I see that, you're in high school, you have this pressure, you fail out of these classes because you just don't know, you skin by, you get into the college, and then that started your journey. So, we get there and then, you get into college, you crash the party, you buy in with some beer, you become one of the guys, you make it up, you talk to your family, and then the career takes off. What was that first holy moment? Holy crap. Like, oh my God, this is it. Like, this is not that it was the end all be all, but there had to be a moment like in the beginning where you're like, I think I made the right choice. What was that like? What moment was that? Do you remember it?
Yeah, I mean, I think you mentioned it a little bit earlier, but it was in 2007 when I ended up finishing 38th in the World Series of Poker main event out of, 6,800 people. And I don't need any boomer comments in the chat. I know I'm old. I graduated college when I was in 2005. And so 2 years pretty much after I graduated, which is 2 years after I started taking poker more seriously, I decided, you know what? I have a limited bankroll, but I want to invest in myself. I want to take a risk on myself. And so even though the buy-in for the World Series of Poker main event was $10,000 and that, I'm not going to lie, maybe a little bankroll mismanagement at the time. But when you're young, you could do it, right? I was,
YOLO.
23 or something. And exactly, like when you're young, you make dumb decisions. Sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. Hopefully you have a safety net and something to fall back on. But yeah, I mean, it was the majority of my poker bankroll at the time, to be honest. And I decided that I wanted to take that risk, but mostly I was very confident in my abilities. And again, I wanted to invest in myself when so many times people maybe counted me out or, maybe didn't want to invest in my potential just because I found my potential in the game of poker. People are like, oh yeah, poker, whatever. But for me, I was like, this is my chance to do it. So I did it. I ended up, finishing in 38th, and that was good for, over $250,000. And I was like, oh my God. Like, first of all, I've never seen that kind of money in my entire life. I would have never wrapped my head around the fact that I could be playing a game for a living and I could make that much money. I was in the tournament for 7 or 8 days. So I played about 12 hours a day for that amount of time to make that kind of money. And I was like, okay, what do I do now? Right? It's crazy. I have this huge infusion to my bankroll and I'm young and I really didn't know what to do with it or what to do with myself. But of course it reinforced that belief that I always had in myself, which was like, I think I'm good enough at this game. I think I understand the strategy behind it. I am a highly competitive person. This is an arena that I feel very comfortable in, and this is an environment that I feel like I could thrive in. And that just validated all of those feelings. And so it really gave me that additional push to continue on and to forge ahead. And, the money didn't hurt either, right? Because I put that right back into my poker bankroll. And poker, as well as, investing, is something where you need capital to make more money. So it was really nice to be able to use that and then diversify a little bit, maybe stop spending 50% of my bankroll on one tournament. And then now I can kind of pick and choose and spread it out a little bit more.
I mean, I'm trying to imagine what I would have done at 2 years out, because you and I are the same age. I'm trying to think 2 years out from college, what would I have done if I had that kind of money? Because I didn't go to college. I was in the military, but the same age, right? Like how dumb would I have been back then? Because I didn't grow up with that thing. So now that we went from a low point to a high point, we're going to get back to the other points. But now I want to bring it to this. You're 22, 24, 25 when that tournament? Correct?
Yeah, like 24. Probably.
Okay.
Yep.
You're 24 years old. You spend half your money on a buy-in. You go 7 days, a week straight, 12 hours a day, sitting at a table, grinding away. You only learned how to play the game a few years before. You're on top of the world. I mean, this is huge, right? You get $250,000. It hits your bank account. What's the first thing you bought? Be honest. Don't lie to me.
I remember.
Listen. I may not be able to do the poker face like you, but I'm watching.
No, I remember, but I feel like I might get shit on a little bit in chat because people are going to be like, this is a very typical female thing to do. Maybe. I don't know. That's not true. Everybody loves bling, right? I bought this super iced out ring because listen, our hands are like when we play poker, our hands are like front and center all the time. I'm like, you know what would look nice on my finger is just a little something. I spent like $10K, which was, the equivalent of a main event buy. And I'm like, I will just spend $10,000 on a ring. It's going to look real nice. It's going to be real shiny. When I play my poker, everybody's going to be like, oh, shoot, whatever. And the best part is I had so many people ask questions like maybe trying to be mean or maybe not, but they were like, oh, did your boyfriend buy that for you? And every time I got asked that, I was able to be like, no, guess what? I bought this with my earnings from the main event. So yeah, I got a lot of those questions. It was really great to fire off that answer.
Okay. For the flexing, I guess it paid for itself, but I'm just thinking to myself, you're 24, you just win this major amount of money. First thing I'm going to do is go out and buy a $10,000 ring. Are you fishing for a jewelry sponsor on this right now? Because I doubt they're watching. But if anybody's watching, listen, Signet Jewelers, you did a big deal today. Anybody. I mean, come on. All right, there you go. All right, so
Yeah.
now that we've established you're definitely one of us, okay? You're a degen. You left everything to become a gambler. You took all your money, YOLO'd it, it worked out, and then you blew the money up. Did you pay your taxes?
Oh, of course. I would never not pay my taxes. Like I have an accountant who could.
Good answer. Okay, so 24 years old, you got $250,000, you know, let's say whatever taxes, you buy out this ring. The rest of it, did you take a vacation? Did you just like invest it? Did you just bankroll it? What did you do? Like not specifically, like I'm not like trying to like I don't work with the IRS, but like, you know, like did you make any dumb purchases after that, or did you kind of be smart with it? Because 24, that kind of money, it's a big pressure for that.
Honestly, that was really my only splurge, and I think I just saved the rest. And that's why stuff like your shows and what you're doing and people in the chat and everybody who's participating in this, like you guys are way ahead of the game, because when I was that age, I didn't know anything about investing. I did not invest my money. I was taught the old school way, right? Like, oh, keep your money in the bank. Like that's the safe place to put it. Like we weren't really given that type of education, and we weren't really fast tracked when we were growing up to have this idea and the sensibility of like, oh, you can actually invest your money in stocks or maybe in crypto or whatever it is nowadays that can actually give you a lot better of a return on your money than just leaving it in the bank or under your mattress, right? And so, I mean, I didn't really know about any of that. My parents never taught me that. Again, my parents were immigrants, so that wasn't something that they even understood, right? Because that wasn't available to them from where they came from. And so I didn't take any trips. I didn't really spend it. I put it in the bank, and I just told myself, I'm going to use this as my seed money and continue to grow it within the game of poker, because this is what I know. And it wasn't until several years later that I actually started investing in stocks and a little bit later down that line, crypto as well, and things like that, because again, now it's so much more accessible to people and can consume and have all of the information right at your fingertips. And there's people out there that are willing to share their knowledge with you, and it's great. And apps that allow retail investors to get in, when before stocks could potentially be prohibitive for a lot of people. So all of those things, are so cool for everybody now. So if any of you guys are in your early 20s and you guys make a quick $250,000, you guys have all kinds of options, all kinds of places to throw that money around, Yeah,
and you'll be in the top 400. Okay, so you keep... You keep saying the word crypto. So I'm assuming, I don't like to use the word assume, I'm under the impression that you're in crypto, obviously. So tell me that journey. Well, what got you into crypto? What are you in? Not how much, but like, what are you in? And what made you decide to get into crypto in that form? I'm just curious. And like, when did you get into it?
Yeah, so I'm not sure if a lot of people know this, but poker players were super early adopters of Bitcoin specifically. Actually, I have a super crazy story. I don't even know how many people I've told, but when poker was made illegal in the US and it was shut down, and this was, over 10 years ago now. So around 2011, there was a huge exodus of poker players that left America to Mexico, to Canada, so they could continue to play online poker for a living. I was dating somebody at the time, and he was one of those people, and he went onto a poker forum and asked, is anybody moving out of the US? Does someone want to share a room or share, a place somewhere? And some guy responded that he had never met before, and he was living down in Tijuana to play online poker. He's like, I have a spare bedroom. Come on down. I know, it already sounds real sketch, but my boyfriend was like, okay, sounds good. $100 like for a month? Whatever it was, right? Like, sure, sign me up.
Tijuana,
so I moved down there with him. So I moved down there with him. And within a month of us being down there, this roommate of ours completely stopped playing online poker and was only using his computer power to mine Bitcoin. And we were like, what are you even doing with your life? Like, we were like coming down on him. We were like, we don't get what you're doing all day. Like, we all moved out here to play online poker, and here you are. We don't see you playing at all. Like, you're doing this thing. We have no idea what you're talking about. Like, what is Bitcoin? This was when Bitcoin was like worth a cent, right? Or even less than that. He was just like trying to explain it to us. We could not understand for the life of us, obviously, the tech behind it or any of that. We were just like, okay, well, clearly you are not doing what you said you were going to do. But it's your life, so go on ahead. And we're just grinding every day, playing online poker. And this guy was like mining Bitcoin after Bitcoin after Bitcoin. And then finally, we were like, okay, so we should probably find out a little more about this whole Bitcoin situation. But it wasn't until several years later, when we had already moved out and Bitcoin, kind of went up to a couple thousand, that we were like, oh, wow, like this guy spent all that time. He has 100,000 Bitcoins at that point. And we're like, okay, well, I think this is something that is really worth getting into. So at that time, I ended up buying some Bitcoin, still not understanding the technology. And that happens sometimes, right? Like, we make risky investments in technology that we don't understand, but it kind of feels like if all the smart people around you are doing it, then it's okay to kind of follow suit, right? Everybody in poker, they were starting to talk about it. All of the smartest people in poker were into Bitcoin. And so I was like, okay, even if I don't get it, I'm just going to, follow the path of people smarter than me. And then from there on, obviously everybody knows, what Bitcoin is at now. But so many poker players had Bitcoin very early on, held on to it. And guess what? They don't play poker anymore because they are too dang rich. So good for them.
All right. So real quick, do you have that guy's number? Do you still have contact with him?
Yeah, I know him. Like, I mean, we still talk every now and then. He's around.
So 100,000 Bitcoin.
When he's not on his like yacht, whatever.
So you say like he had like 100,000 Bitcoin at the time?
Yeah, and and from what I know, like, listen, I don't speak on people's finances if I don't know, but like most poker players are gamblers, right? They're not going to sell. They don't care. 1,000 cents or whatever, or nothing really. Just his energy bill, essentially. To them, they were like, who cares? It was kind of free money. We'll just keep holding. It went to 2,000. It went to 5,000. It went to 10,000. They just held. Sometimes they would take profits, but as far as I know, they have a shitload of Bitcoin. All of these poker players that were early adopters held.
That's crazy. I'm not even going to bother doing the math in my head. I'm thinking to myself, because everybody remembers, like, I bought Dogecoin at half a cent, right? Like, I had a couple $1,000s worth of it at half a cent, and it didn't move. So I sold all but $11. That $11 is worth like $600 now. I'm thinking to myself, wow, like, it is what it is, But like you said, it's a gamble. It's a risk. I mean, look at NFTs right now. I mean, you've got people out there that are doing the same thing. They're like, oh my God, I don't want to get into the NFT thing because it's a scam. And whether it is or not, it's blowing up. I mean, people are flipping them for millions of dollars every day. So you just never know which one is going to be the winner or which one's going to be the loser. But I think that's amazing. And we're talking about that with you into crypto. So I'm not going to ask how many Bitcoins you have or anything like that. But I just heard you talk about it a lot. So I'm like, all right, we got one of those the crypto community, one of us there, or one of them. So whichever way you want to look at it. Okay, so we went from low point, we went to high point, 2007. Now, between 2007 and, because in every type of gambling there's always a low point. There is a cold streak. There is there is FOMO. There is tilting. There is that. You had to have had one too. Tell me about that. Where was the downfall?
Yeah, I mean, I think it was probably a few years after I started playing professionally. So this was post that World Series of Poker main event that I just talked about. And at that point, I had built up my bankroll pretty nicely, and I was playing higher and higher stakes. And I think I was moving along at the right pace for my skill level and for what I felt comfortable with. But I went on a crazy downswing, right? I think it was maybe, people asked me, what's the longest period of time you've gone without winning a session? So I would say that I was probably playing almost every day. So let's just say 28 sessions in a month. And I went probably 45 to 50 sessions without winning. So I was losing every single session. And that was an incredible downswing at the stakes that I was playing. And poker is a numbers game, right? So it's in order to capitalize on your skill edge, you have to play the long game, and you have to create a large enough sample size where that skill edge rises to the top and the luck factor diminishes. And so it came to a point where I had to consider moving down stakes significantly or just taking a break, right? Like I was close to broke, but not exactly broke at that point. But I was not going to be able to stay at the stakes I was playing. But if I moved down stakes, I wouldn't be able to recoup the losses that it would have taken me years, right? If I moved down stakes. So that was probably the first time that I ever wanted to quit. You know, there were times before that where I was like, oh, I'm not sure if I want to do this. I'm not sure if I can do this. But that was the first time when I was like, I absolutely don't think that this is where I should be, because it was taking a toll emotionally. It was taking a toll mentally. Like, I didn't know if I had the mental fortitude required to weather that type of downswing, because it starts affecting the way you play, right? It starts affecting your confidence. Just like when you make a bad investment, you start questioning everything you think you know, all of the information that you consume that gets you to a point where you're ready to pull the trigger and make a decision. You start wondering if you even have any idea if what you think you know, you actually know. And that's a really terrible place to be, especially in poker, when you're second guessing your decisions. When I end up raising somebody and they end up having the best hand, I'm like, God, I should have folded, right? And so everything that you do doesn't seem to be working. And then it gets to a point where you don't even know if you're good enough to continue to do it professionally. And so I just had to step away from the game. I just needed a break. And I think it taught me a lot. I think a part of me wanted to push through, and a part of me was so stubborn that I was like, no, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to keep going until I lose my last dollar. But then there was another part of me that was like, no, it's okay to walk away. You're not here to prove anything to anybody else. You have to decide right here and right now whether A, you want to continue, and also B, if you're willing to essentially lose your entire bankroll just to say what? Just to say, like, poker didn't, make me quit. Like, I'm the one who's going to make that decision to just go completely broke, but I'm not going to let this run bad force me out of the game. I mean, it definitely was something that I think my ego just needed to take that hit. And I ended up coming back. I came back to the game. I was willing to put that ego aside and play lower stakes. And it was a little embarrassing, right? Like, everybody who knew I was playing higher stakes at that time, they would see me in the lower stakes game, and everybody would know, like, oh, shoot, Maria must have lost her bankroll or something, But I ended up grinding it back. And I just, I took that on the chin at the end of the day. And that was, over 10 years now. So now I feel really good that I kept with it, because I've never gone close to going broke like that ever again since. And I feel like I learned a lot from that.
Yeah, it sounds so much like stock trading in so many ways. Like, you getting that FOMO and that spiral and stuff like that. And this is going to bring me to the next thing. I think we need to take a quick commercial break, but I want to. You touched on something that I tell my guys all the time, and that is, if you learn from your mistakes, they're investments. And what you were just saying is something that I think touches on that entirely. And I want to dive into that a little bit and springboard from that into risk assessment and how, like a lot of times when you trade stocks, the same thing, you're doing well, you're doing great. And then you start hitting that losing streak. The next thing you know, maybe you need to lower your stakes. Maybe you need to stay away from the high risk stuff and do the good stuff and get that confidence back and get that thing and relearn some of the things that you thought you knew, or you maybe thought you knew too much and had to get humbled, because like Mike Tyson famously said, everyone has a plan until they get punched in the face. And I think that that's a great point for us to pick back up on. So I think we're going to take a quick commercial break here for 3 minutes, and then we're going to come back on that topic. And I think that's a great point for our second half here, because I really want to dive into that. All right, so we've got about 90 seconds until we get back into it. Some people are getting a nice little ad break, and some are going to be seeing us here for the next 90 seconds. So before we get back into the show, I for the few people that are watching, I saw that you're a fan of Game of Thrones, correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay. Season 8, last season. Tell me.
Oh my God. So actually, I don't know if this is good or bad. I'm getting mixed reviews, but I watched every season until the last season because I was really busy at the time. And then I just never got to watching the last season because so many people told me how terrible it was and how disappointed they were with the finale. And so I just kind of gave up on it. So I don't know. Is that a good thing or bad thing? Did I just save a lot of hours of my life? It sounds like I
mean,
did,
I feel like you know what? You know what? You shouldn't watch it. It's not good for you. It's not even good for you.
That's what people said. Like people.
No, I'm telling you that because you always do what people tell you not to do.
That one's not going to work on me.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. I'll tell you this. I watched the first one, the whole thing through the first time, and then I binge watched it a second time through, and I actually stopped watching before the last episode. So I watched the whole 8th season up until the last episode my second time through. That's how bad the last episode was for me, but the last season is good in places. It's just
okay.
I mean, but all right, real quick because we're about to go back. All right, so Game of Thrones. If you could be any character in Game of Thrones, who would you be?
Oh, that's I think I'd have to pick probably Arya. I think she's a badass, right? Like she's just a little like firecracker, and throughout the whole situation, I think she just handles herself like a boss.
Yeah, you're definitely an Arya. It's just like, you know what? They want me to be a lady. Screw that. I'm gonna go play poker and stab somebody.
Basically, that's right. I would have some people.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I would have just. I don't even know who I would have been. I think I would have wanted to be the guy who was the head of Daenerys's army for a while there because he got to like hook up with the queen and like live in the palace and then go off and do adventures. I was like, you know what? That guy doesn't get a lot of credit. He doesn't get enough credit. I liked him.
True.
All right. Well, I think we're back. Double check with the team here. All right, we are back. All right, so those of you guys that were on an ad break, I do apologize, but we are back with Maria. We were just talking Game of Thrones, and for those of you guys who were here before the ad break, we were talking about how learning from your investment or learning from your mistakes is an investment if you learn from them, and I use that in my life a lot of times. If you make mistakes, you're going to make mistakes. It's part of life, and every mistake you make as you get older, there's more consequences to it, so it feels like it's worse. But if you learn from your mistakes, they're investments. You learn what not to do in the future. So you were saying that you made these mistakes, you got into this death spiral, you were tilting, you were losing all your bankroll, and then you were like, you said, oh, I'm gonna take a step back. I'm gonna take a step back because this is not working for me. I'm doing the same thing over and over again. It's not working. Let me take a step back, reassess, lower my stakes, get fact focused, and learn from those mistakes. What was the biggest mistake or mistakes that you learned from during that spiral that have helped you reach the success you have now?
I think that I was probably just a little bit overconfident. I think that for some people, you get to a point where if everything goes well, everything's going smoothly, you feel like, oh, perhaps you've reached this pinnacle of whether it's, investing or poker where you think you know everything. And especially when you're young, it's kind of easy to get into that mindset of like, oh, I know everything there is to know. Like things are going so well. What could possibly go wrong? And I think I got to a point in my poker strategy where I became really complacent and I just stopped learning and evolving. And at this point, the game was becoming so sophisticated. Solvers were being introduced into the game. Game theory was at a point where people were able to really hone in on very, very effective ways to play the game. And I was still kind of stuck back in, 2003 playing playing with my friends in the dorm. And I was like, okay, I need to level up. Everybody around me is leveling up. Everybody around me is kicking their game up a notch and taking to that next level. And I need to get there as well. And I need to stop thinking that whatever I'm doing that has been working is going to continue working because the competition is getting tougher. And so for me, that was a big thing. Again, talking about learning to put my ego aside and humble myself in that moment to be like, no, I don't know everything. No, I'm not the best poker player. And in order to keep up with everybody else around me, I'm going to have to put in the work. I'm going to have to put in the time and learn about these new strategies and, maybe get to work on some of these solvers that people are starting to use, even though it's hard. And even though I felt like, oh, didn't I earn the ability to maybe after all these years, just like take a step back and not have to like think and eat and breathe poker 24/7. But like anything else, if you want to succeed at it and if you want to be the best, then you have to be willing to have that type of dedication.
Yeah. And it sounds so much like the stock market. It's like you see people all the time say, well, you didn't trade through this or that. The stock market changes. The moment you pick up a stock market book, the market's changed. It evolves. You have communication and news is faster and supply chains. They say you have to keep learning because the second that you get stuck in your ways, you're falling behind. And it's so funny, too, because I had touched on this before the interview with you, that I actually got started in the stock market because of poker. I mean, that's what led me to the stock market. I played poker. I played cash games, some tournaments. I played a lot of online poker. And then as you said, that it got shut down. And then all of a sudden I was like, well, I can't do poker online, but what's this thing with penny stocks? And that ended up. And of course, I got wrecked doing that, and then I had to learn from the bottom. But yeah, it was hilarious because it was a natural transition for me from poker to the stocks. And before you ask why didn't I keep playing poker, it's because I sucked at it. Okay, I was good. My problem was that I only played the cards and not the people. And we're gonna go into this in a little bit too because I want to talk about risk assessment. But before we do, all right. I saw your interview and you were talking about how, your best skill or one of your best skills is the ability to read people, to find tells and to see who's bluffing and not. Okay. I couldn't do that. My ADD wouldn't allow me to focus on it. I just played my cards. And the problem was if I had good cards, by the time 20 hands went through, everybody knew if I had a good hand or not because I folded the bad ones and I played the good ones. And every time I tried to bluff, I got beat. So I want to know from the master, okay, all right, mm-hmm. Maria Ho herself, how can I have a better poker face? Because I'm going to be real with you, when I was playing poker and when I was in the military, I said something to myself. I said, I will never date a girl who is a police officer or a poker player because they'll always know when I'm around. So, with that being said, give me a tip the next time my wife asks me how the cooking was and I have to Give me that. Give me a tip. Teach me the perfect poker face. How can I have a good poker face?
Well, first of all, I'm not going to teach you how to lie to your wife. Okay, that's not what this show is for.
It's not lying. I'm not lying. I would have to lie.
But no. But you're like, is she there? Is she around the corner? Is she listening? But yeah, I think that there's a little bit of a misconception about what a poker face actually is, right? I think a lot of people think, oh, are people like, me or Daniel Negreanu or whoever else just like staring into somebody's soul and able to figure out strong or weak? Like maybe there's like a small element of that, but most of it is pattern recognition, actually. So in terms of being the type of poker player or person in general that doesn't give else, it's about do something consistently every time, right? So what I'm looking for when I'm at the table, if I'm trying to spot if somebody is bluffing or not, is to see how are they deviating that they've established up until that point. So we talked about how I'm playing poker for 12 hours a day. So sometimes I'm sitting across these same players for 12 hours. So you start being able to track what their patterns are, what they do every time, when they've been strong, when they've had a really good hand, how have they been maybe moving their chips forward, putting their chips into the pot? How are they looking at their cards? How are they, even things like bet sizes is a pattern, right? All of those things, you're putting it into your mental database. Do things deviate 5 hours later. Then you start processing that deviation from everything you know them to be doing up until that point. And then that's what gives me that tell. That's what makes you lose your poker face, is you not being consistent with your behaviors, with your actions. And then that's how I end up calling you with ace high and being right.
It's the bad beat story. I don't even want to get into it. Okay, so we're getting close to the end of the interview here, but we've gotten your story is amazing. I think it's absolutely awesome. There's so many intertwines with risk assessment and being smart and being good with your bankroll and being smart with your money and there's so much to be learned from poker and the whole 9 years. The same thing with investing and trading. And your story is incredible. From coming over here to the defiance of your parents to not knowing what you want to go into the world, to how you came into poker, to being the top of the world, to being down, to back to the top. And it just keeps going. Like I said in the beginning, I mean, all these caches you have, you're the sponsorships, you host, different shows, you are, a broadcaster now. That communication degree finally came into use, now with that. And there's so much going on. And poker's not like other sports. I mean, you could play as long as you want, as long as you still have that passion. But at some point, just like my streaming career, which will be very short, your poker career is going to come to an end because you're going to decide, it's not fun anymore. It's too much risk. So what's next? What have you started thinking, if poker or the poker world is just, it's not fun anymore, where is my next step? What is the future for Maria Hohold? I'm curious.
So the answer isn't to just invest in some altcoin that goes to the moon and then just retire like the next Bitcoin. Guys, any advice on what the next Bitcoin is?
Don't say that because I'm going to have to hear about some dog, some Japanese dog that coin is worth 1/1,000,000th of a cent, and they're going to tell me to go all in.
I know, and I already have 2 different dog coins, so like I maxed out on my dog.
Name them, name drop them, name drop them.
Doge and Shiba Inu.
Oh no, she's one of us. No, not like this. Not like this.
I'm not encouraging this by any means, but okay, but anyway.
You went from my poker winnings went into a diamond ring to my poker winnings went into Shibu coin.
I mean, listen, you guys, I see that the chat is going hard right now. So let's move away from my dog tokens and talk about what I want to end up doing. Honestly, I love poker. I will always be playing poker in some way, shape, or form. And as far as the broadcasting piece, that's just another way for me to always be involved in the space because I love broadcasting and I learned so much about the game doing the broadcast. And I just enjoy watching amazing players play, right? And I will always love the strategy behind it. But I also feel like there's so much out there to explore. Like there's so many unconventional paths that are being opened especially for people of the generation after us, right? You guys are also lucky out there because now going to college and taking the traditional path isn't necessarily not only not a requirement to be successful in life, but it's not even as much encouraged as it used to be. A lot of people are not going to necessarily need you to walk in the door with this diploma to prove that you can be good at something or to prove that you have some knowledge base or some type of intelligence that will help this business. So I think that that's the great part is you guys can do anything and pick anything and choose at anything. And I want to recreate that now again, because poker was that for me. And I kind of want to move on to the next thing that's really out of the box, maybe something unexpected, but I think I'll always have a love with games, with things that require strategy, with things that require me to, things that are a puzzle essentially that I have to figure out. I don't want all the information to be handed to me. I want to have to learn and I want to have to find a way to excel at something that isn't necessarily that obvious or that solved, which is why I'm dabbling a lot more in the markets now than I used to. So, I mean, ultimately, that's kind of where I'm at. I think philanthropy is like the biggest goal for me is I want to be able to, have some type of business model where I'm able to make profit, but also where I feel like I'm helping others because poker doesn't really provide that. It's a pretty zero-sum game, not really creating anything or helping anybody. So I don't know exactly what that is yet, but I've got a lot of big plans. I just got to figure out when to pull the trigger.
Well, I mean, it sounds like you're ready. I mean, you're still right in the heat of the passion with the game. You're doing well. You got the broadcasting go. You got these plans, and I think it's awesome. But I do have a proposition for you. Hear me out. 100-person poker game a la Squid Games. You get busted out, you're done. You know what I mean? And it's winner take all. That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking big open courtyard, giant table, 100 people. I mean, I don't know how the dealer's going to do, but Squid Game style. And it's just Hunger Games meets the World Series of Poker, and we do it like Squid Games. I think that would be compelling TV. We probably only get one season, but it'd be compelling.
No, for sure. And I feel like most people play their best when it's the most on their line. So I feel like my life is pretty meaningful to me. So I think that will be the time when I'll play my best poker. So I'm in.
I'm just gonna all in every hand. It's a coin flip for me. Either I take it all or I'm out, because I can't sit there and like watch everybody go. All right. So before we wrap it up, just two quick things for you. Number one, I have this thing that I like to ask people, because I think it's so important, especially for people like us who have been through so much in life. If you could go back and give 17-year-old, 18-year-old Maria Ho one piece of advice, like you get to go whisper in her ear when she's sleeping. She doesn't know it's you. You get to give her one piece of advice to help with her life or to give her stop anxiety or whatever. What would that be? What would you give 17-year-old Maria Ho as your one piece of advice, and that's all you got to give?
I think it would have to be to basically pave your own way and to stop caring about what other people think or what society asks of you. I feel like I could have saved myself a lot of years of all of those feelings that I had talked about feeling like I didn't belong, if I wasn't trying so hard to pigeonhole myself into this box that other people built for me, right? I think I caged myself and I put myself in this position to try to fit in with everybody because I cared so much about what other people think. And I feel like the sooner that I discover that is not important at all. Like at the end of the day, what people think about your choices and what you do in life, as long as you're a good person, right? Like that is my caveat. But as long as you're a good person, what people think about you and what you choose to do with your life should not matter. And it should not hold you back from taking risks or doing something that's very out of the ordinary or that people think you might not be able to succeed at. Because I was able to carve out this career and this path out of something that didn't really exist at the time. You know, playing poker for a living barely was a thing, let alone making it into the career that I made it into. And I feel like I could have, again, spared myself a lot of anguish if I wasn't so concerned about doing what everybody else expected of me. And I was willing to take that risk and take that leap even sooner.
Yeah, I think that almost anybody our age or older, even some younger, literally think the same thing. You know, it's you know, by the time you figure it out, sometimes it's too late, you know, and then you don't get to choose and enjoy your life. So I'm so happy you said that. It's such a great message. And, you know, I also believe that, you know, one of the biggest risk in life is never taking any risks. And a lot of people get so scared of that. So I know you got to get going. So before you go, I just want to ask one thing. Okay. I was going to talk about this before the interview, but I didn't want to spoil the surprise. Maria, I need you to give me 3 random letters.
Okay, F, M, and U.
FMU. All right, so FMU. So congratulations, you just picked, or is it UMF? Well, you gave me 3 letters, so I have to find something with those 3 letters on the U.S. Stock Exchange. So you just picked your stock pick for the next week. You didn't know this. So what we're going to be doing is there's a 7-part series on the for the interviews, and what I'm going to be doing is from close today till open of next Tuesday, we're going to see what the price of the stock you chose. So it's going to be a U.S. exchange of either UMF, MUF, or FMU, whatever one of those words. And at the end of the 7 weeks, Whoever has the single best week with their random thing is going to win nothing. But it'll be awesome to say you won it because it's like that $10,000 diamond ring. You could say, hey, you know what my greatest accomplishment in life was? They're going to be like, what? The World Series Poker? Be like, no, I went on Stocky's show and I won the random pick because that's my greatest accomplishment in life, I guess. I don't know. But Maria, thank you so much for coming on. This was absolutely, this was so much more fun than I thought it was going to be. I'm so happy that you came. I wish you the best of luck, especially in the stock draft. I hope you come in second place. You know, that goes on. The last thing before you do go, I heard that you were a hot sauce connoisseur.
Sure am.
Okay, somebody sent me this 2 years ago, and it has 1 million Scovilles.
Oh my gosh! What? That's
1
insane.
million Scovilles. Is this gonna hurt me going in and out, or how is this gonna do? Have you ever?
No, but when are you gonna break open that bottle? Like, this will be on stream, clearly, right? Like, at some point.
Listen, they say if you're good at something, never do it for free. There's no way I'm taking a shot of this for free. And the amount of money this would take is these guys don't have that kind of money. So I probably won't. But I thought when I saw that you were a connoisseur that I was like, you know what? I'm going to bust this out and see what she says. But you've never had the 357?
No, because I want hot sauce that enhances the flavor of my food. I don't want hot sauce so hot that I can't taste anything for the next week.
Sounds like an excuse to me. I'm just kidding. If I do take a shot of this, I will send you the video.
Please inform me. I will tune in.
I will make sure that you are tagged on this, even if it is the last thing I do and I get banned for it. So, Maria, thank you again so much for coming on. This was an absolute blast. You're awesome. Good luck. Do you have any tournaments coming up?
I do. So I'm out in Vegas right now playing the World Series of Poker. It started like 12 days ago. There's 6 more weeks left. There's 88 events. I'm going to be playing as many as I can get my hands on. So sometimes that's, 40 plus events because I'll make day 2s and day 3s. And it's every day. Plus I'm doing broadcasting as well. I will be on the break desk for the main event. So this is my life for the next 7 weeks. I hope you guys are all rooting for me. And thanks for having me on. We are rooting for you. And you've picked up a whole bunch of new fans here. And that's why I know you had limited time. So we're going to let you go get to your craziness. Maria, where can these guys find you if they want to follow you? Because now you have all of these new fans who want to watch you win. How can they follow you? How can they keep up with you? They can follow me on Twitter at Maria Ho, my name, or at Instagram, Maria_Ho. And yeah, I'm doing like little videos from the World Series. So if you guys want to have a glimpse of what it's like to be out here, you guys can check it out on my Instagram. But yeah, this was so much fun, honestly. And maybe if I win this contest of FMU or UMF or whatever going up the most, you'll have me back on so I can dunk on all the fools that didn't pick a better stock than I did.
Oh, she did not. Those guys. I thought you were talking about the CNBC StockDraft. I was going to say, don't get cocky. Don't get cocky. We're far behind right now. We're getting wiped with the floor right now.
We are so far behind.
Hey, at least we're not Seymour. I mean,
sad.
He picked Tilray. It's down like 80%. Like, he's never coming back unless they legalize weed.
Oh, I know. And he also picked Bitcoin, which he got first overall pick. And I was going to pick Bitcoin. I ended up with the second overall pick. And I was going to take Bitcoin if he didn't. And yeah, it's not working out so well for him overall right now. So
who did you pay off for the second pick?
I think you and I might have some friends in high places, but I definitely, my bribe was a keg of beer. So clearly,
SEC, I don't know what she's talking about. All right, Maria, listen, have a good one. Good luck out there. We'll keep up with you on the tournament, and we'll see how you're doing. And we're hoping for another $250,000 cash out and another big ring.
Yeah,
and a bracelet.
So.
A bracelet. Come back with a bracelet.
Yes. All of the jewelry, all of the bling.
All right. Well, listen, Maria, thanks again, and we'll see you in 7 weeks.
Thank you. See you.
All right. Take care. All right, ladies and gentlemen, Maria Ho, I hope you guys enjoyed it. That was an absolute blast having her here. For those of you guys who got in late, Maria Ho is, we're going to call her the queen of poker, at least for Twitch. She is an amazing poker player, a laundry list of accomplishments. One of the ones that we were talking about was her finishing 27th or 28th in the 2007 World Series of Poker. It was 2 years out of college. She learned how to play by stalking some friends in college and bribing them to play with beer. She has an incredible story that I think resonates with so many people. And one of my favorite things about this whole conversation was how she decided to go against everything that she was comfortable with and everything that she was told was the right thing to do and the way things should be to forge her own path. And found that success. And it's something I like to tell people all the time, that sometimes we have to be uncomfortable in order to be successful. So thank you again, Maria. It was awesome having you here. Claps all around. And this was a great way to start off this interview series. So now that she's gone, you're stuck with me. So I hate to tell you that, but Maria's gone, and you've got this scuffed streamer here. And while I'm here, I figured, you know what, guys, we've got some time. I know there's some new people here, and there's some other things going on. So I thought, hey, how about we open up the floor? How about we ask some questions? Maybe some questions. You have questions about money or finance or stocks or being a Twitch streamer or how do you avoid having your hairline recede as much as me or any of that. I would love to answer your questions and just kind of hang out with you guys. Please feel free to do that. For those of you guys who don't know me, I am the Stock Guy. I stream here on Twitch. We talk about stocks and trading and investing and money and finance and memes and the whole 9 yards. And we're going to be doing this 7-part interview series every Tuesday, same time, same place, right here. The guests are going to be all kinds of powerhouses around the finance world, the business world, the sports world, and even the streaming world. You never know who it's going to be. And I think that the most important thing is that everyone has a story to tell. And I'm very interested to dive in and hear about those stories, as well as, what people have learned from the challenges they face, the highs, the lows, what people, what they could show and share with others to get that journey. Just like Maria said, if she could go back to her 17-year-old self, she'd say, hey, just be you. Do what makes you happy. And I feel like we do that a lot. We often, tell others that same thing, but we never live it ourselves. And I know a lot of people out there do the same thing. We always give people advice that we never take ourselves. And sometimes we got to say to ourselves, what if I was that friend? What would I say to that friend? But that friend is you. What would you tell your 17-year-old self? I would tell my 17-year-old self something similar. And that's that you don't need to try and force people to like you. Be who you are, own who you are, and the people who will end up loving you and liking you for who you are will find you. Otherwise, you spend your entire time being somebody you're not to impress people who don't care about you while never giving the opportunity to allow the people who would like you for you to be there. And you end up with nothing. And that's something I had to learn the hard way as I was growing up. Question, can we send her to the map? No, because she has already dipped. She is going to be much more successful than I am today and be much more busy. But thank you for asking if she can go to the map. I'm sure that there is a type of map we could send her to. What hot sauce would a newbie start off with? I would assume that the best hot sauce for a newbie to start off with would be just plain old Tabasco. I mean, it's enough to give you a little bit of a flavor, and you can tell if you're able to move up to the next level or not. I wouldn't go too much smaller, lighter than that, because it doesn't feel like it's going to give justice. Hey, Stocky, why is Wednesday pronounced that way? Why is Wednesday pronounced that way? Because when you do the English language, we like to have things that tend to flow a little bit. It's the same way we say February rather than February. It's a very hard syllable in the middle of a word. So the same thing, instead of Wednesday, we just say Wednesday. Will the podcast go up on YouTube? Are you talking about this talk right here? Yes, we will be doing it. I am contractually obligated to wait 24 hours, but we will. Neandra is not paid enough, but he will make a video from this and put it up on my YouTube. So if you missed this today and you want to watch the whole thing and you don't want to go through Twitch with the VODs, please check out my YouTube at YouTube /TheStockGuy, or you can hit exclamation point YouTube in the channel. It'll send you to my YouTube channel. Got all kinds of videos about everything, whether it's investing or economic news or you know, stocks or just life stuff, and this will be on there as well as my other interviews that I've done in the past. So thank you for asking, and yes, it will. That was awesome. Can we see a magic trick? I could show you how to turn $5,000 into $50 in 10 minutes if you'd like. That's a magic trick that doesn't take a lot of experience. Anybody can actually do that. It would be called taking Apple calls at open this morning. I don't know if that's magic, but I guess it's a way of making something disappear. Will there be a new guest every week? There will be a new guest every week. We have a whole bunch of potential guests right now from all over the world. Some of them, all of them you've heard of, but they're all different places, all different industries, and they're going to come here and we're going to talk similar things. We're going to find out where they came from, how they got to where they are, what they're going to do in the future, what mistakes they've made and how they learn from them, what they do with money, the whole 9 yards, investing, and YOLOs as well. Give us a hint about the next guest. I would do that, but I would get in trouble, and I don't feel like dealing with that right now. Honestly, I don't know. They just tell me. They lock me in a room until the next Tuesday. But later this week, we'll get it to you guys. When are you upgrading your background? You know, I was thinking about upgrading my background, but I did not. And you know why? Because I think that this is me, and I'm going to keep it there. I didn't get this in the screen, but I did have Peyton Manning up there the entire time. And I feel very, very, very sad that I did not have that in the screen the entire time. So I do apologize for not having Peyton Manning in the background for you guys. I'll be better next time. All right, next question from Printer Go Burr. When is the hot tub stream? Soon. We're almost there, and the hot tub stream will take place. And I will be. I'm still trying to work out so I can make sure that you guys have something at least somewhat decent to look at. Who's your favorite mod? My favorite mod is the mod who doesn't give me any trouble and ask for anything, and that would be handpicked by Tim. Also, we should ask Maria if she'd like to be a mod. I think that would. I think she would fit in. She'd be very, very, very good fit for the mod team. Actually, I can think of somebody to replace right away. Who drew that? Who drew that up there? That actually is something that when I worked at a hotel, I was a manager at a hotel, and the hotel chain was one of those companies that was very into like, hey, we made $50 million, so we're going to spend $50,000 on the employees this year, and we're going to throw them a party. And they had a party that had hors d'oeuvres and watered down beer, but they had a cigar rolling station and a character station, and that's the picture that I got drawn for me. That was worth the 80-hour work weeks. All right, next one. From Tube Known. How do you feel about your first show? That was actually a lot of fun. I don't know how you guys felt about it on your side, but I really enjoyed it. I think it was really fun. I think we got a great interview. Maria was a blast. She seems like a lot of fun to hang out with. She seems like the type of person that everybody wishes that they had in their friends group. And like I said, poker and stocks and stuff have a lot in common. So I had a blast. I really, really enjoyed the interview. And I'm looking forward to more. Who's your favorite Pokemon? My favorite Pokemon is Magikarp. And the reason I say that is because absolutely useless. But it's just like a growing stock, right? It's like an investment, right? You know, you don't get that wild volatility. You buy it, it doesn't do much for a while, but as time goes on, that compounding interest, because the greatest secret in the world is compounding interest, and Magikarp is compounding interest. You buy your dividend stock or your compounding interest. It's not much to begin with. It doesn't seem like it's doing much in the beginning, but once time goes on, you give enough time, boom, exponential growth, and it's the best in the world. Why is your stream so scuffed, but you interview so well? Well, because I'm interviewing somebody. I'm not entertaining a bunch of degenerates. You guys love all of it. This is part of the whole thing. Have you played poker at a casino before? How did you do? I've played poker at many casinos. I was pretty good at cash games. The problem, I was good at tournaments. And the reason I was good at tournaments was because with cash games, if you sit at the table long enough, people who actually know how to read or pay attention will find out what kind of player you are. It takes 20 to 50 hands. They start to understand how you bet and where you bet. And that's when I would go from being the wild card to them knowing everything. But with a tournament, you bust out, you'd move tables and you'd get different things. And I was better at tournament play. All right. Next one from BMAC. How did your baby know you needed no sleep to perform so well? So my baby was sick this weekend and she was teething, and she got sick again last night, was crying all night. So for those who don't know, I've been up since 2:30 a.m. I went to bed at 1 a.m. So I've 1.5 hours of sleep over the past 2 days, but I've got my my caffeinated tropical drink and I'm good to go. Thank you. My baby is an oracle. How much did you lose in poker at that time? I have no idea, because I won a lot and then gave it all back. My two biggest dumb moves ever. One was, everyone has a bad beat story. My bad beat story was I was at a cash table game and I had knocked out like 5 or 6 people on a 1-2 no limit table, moved to a 5-10, knocked out 2 people. And I had turned like $200 starting bankroll into something like $6,000. And, I was ready to leave after 6 hours, 7 hours, and I was stacking all my chips up, and I was getting off the table, and the dealer dealt me anyways. And instead of walking away, I looked down, and I had pocket aces. And I don't think I need to go where this was, but basically, I played another high guy with a lot of money, called, he had pocket twos, flop came out. It was, I didn't know what he had. It was some offsuits. It was like, I think it was like 10, 6, 3 all offsuit. So I figured, he probably had like pocket jacks or queens. So he went all in. I called him and I didn't chase anything, and I walked out of there with nothing. And then the other one was I was playing online poker, and I had turned $100 into several $1,000s, and was doing really well. I was grinding. I was doing, one table at a time on full tilt until I got in a fight with my girlfriend at the time and decided that I was just going to go do my own thing and started drinking and playing. Next thing I knew, I was playing $4,000 tables at a time in four different windows, and lost all my money in about 2 hours. You learn from your mistakes. How long do you plan to stream, and do you think you will move away from streaming sometime in the far future? You know what? I don't know. I think kind of like what I did with Ask with Maria. I think it's until I don't like it anymore. I'm at a point in my life where if I don't enjoy something, I'm not going to do it. So, I enjoy streaming. The trading part is nice. I make some money here, doing that. I'm an investor first and a trader second. But honestly, I just love turning on a stream and hanging out with the community. You guys are amazing. You guys are literally the reason that I get to do this. And I'm like, you know what? I get to hang out with an awesome group of people. I get to trade, invest, talk stocks, BS, meme, roast back and forth with the chat with a great community. Why would I want to do anything else? So until that becomes no fun, I'm going to keep streaming. What was your favorite character in Squid Game? My favorite character in Squid Game was the assassin girl. She was absolutely my favorite. Absolutely. She was awesome. I liked her a lot. What was your go-to drink? What, when I used to drink? It's going to be weird, but it would be Tito's vodka with a little splash of powdered Kool-Aid, grape Kool-Aid. That was my go-to drink. I'd have a Tito's on ice with a splash of Gatorade. I don't drink anymore though. I'm just my body doesn't allow me to. Will you be doing any IRL streams? I mean, I can. I try to do IRL streams, but with the baby now, it's a little bit more difficult. But I know you guys seem to like the IRL streams. It seems like it's a lot of fun, and we'll see about that in the future, especially as we start to branch out on other things. But we got a lot of projects going on. I have a brand new podcast that we're filming episode 3 for this week. Exclamation Point Podcast. If you guys want to check it out, where we talk about stuff that's not normally on my stream. Good times. Next question. What's your favorite country outside the USA, and why is it Scotland? Scotland's not my favorite country outside the United States, but Scotland is the one that I would like to most visit. because I love the history there. I love the history of the Picts and the revolts and the uprisings. I love the Hadrian's Wall. I love the castles. I love the clans. I love the difference between the Highlands and the Lowlands and Edinburgh, Glasgow. I got my butt kicked in Glasgow. My favorite country is Norway because I'm half Norwegian, so it's required for me to say that. Next. Are you going to celebrate Diwali with your wife and child? Yes, actually, today's the last day my wife is fasting. We're not. We're doing our thing tonight. It's awesome, and I'm very lucky to have such an amazing family. I'm very happy with that. You going to TwitchCon? That's a tough one. TwitchCon EU, TwitchCon US. I mean, I would go, but I don't really know a lot of people at Twitch, other streamers, because I'm not really good at networking because I have so much else going on. But I would probably go to TwitchCon if COVID's kind of settled. I am vaccinated, and if I'm going to couch surf with people, so I'm going to see who's got a spare couch if I go to the EU. What do you do for fun when you aren't streaming? I get to spend time with my amazing, beautiful angel of a daughter, and that is all I care about. That is my few hours of time off is spent with her. That is what I do. That's fun for me. Tell us about StockCon. It got canceled because of COVID last year. That's all I'm going to say about that. Okay? We will have a StockCon at some point, all right? Why is your baby better at picking stocks than you? I don't know, but I will continue to allow her to pick stocks because she is ungodly good at it. Have you ever been in debt? If so, how did you get out? Yes, I have been in debt. There was a time, even as late as my mid-20s, where I actually had overdraft fees in my bank. I was in debt. I had a car payment. I had a credit card debt, and I had no money. And the way I got out of it was I just grinded. It was tough. It was unfair. I had nobody. I had to grind out of it. So I put in extra hours at work. I got a secondary job, and I put myself in that position. Not blaming, it's not anyone's fault, because I wasn't educated at the time, but I figured out what I was doing wrong, and I was like, how do I fix this? And so I started grinding, and I started putting extra money away, and I just started chipping away at it, and it didn't seem like much at a while, but then the principal started going down, and then I got a consolidation loan, and then I was able to do that. And then there is no better feeling. And anybody out there who's ever paid the last payment on their car, their house, or their student loans knows that there is no better feeling than that moment you pay that last bill and get debt free. And I made a deal with myself that outside of a home purchase or potentially a car, I would never allow myself to have more debt than assets outside of a home or car the rest of my life. I wouldn't do it unless it was an emergency, like a medical bill or something. Have you ever moved to a completely new city with no friends or family? Any advice for someone that is? I've done that many times in my life because I grew up without family, so I've done that many times. The best thing you can do is to not give yourself anxiety before you go, because then you're already going to give yourself preconceived notions. Go into it with a good attitude, because when your feet hit the ground, your attitude going into it is gonna basically set the stage for it, right? Get settled, focus on yourself, learn your area and stuff like that. And then don't worry about having to go find people to hang out with. Remember, do things you like, be who you are, and those people will find you. Find meetup groups, find gaming, find whatever. You'll be fine. Like I said, it's just another city, right? It's just a different place. Same thing. Everyone has the same problems. Everyone has the same joys. Everyone has the same things. It doesn't matter where you go. Don't overthink it. What is a V6 Charger? It's a great car if you are, I hate it here. It's a car. Have you bought a minivan yet? I have not bought a minivan yet. I'm actually looking at some certified pre-owned cars. For those of you guys who are new to investing or new to money, never buy a new car if you don't have to. Obviously, right now it's different because used cars are so expensive. But certified pre-owned or off lease are generally your best. You don't want to get a lemon either. Do you think debts are necessarily to move up? Yes, unfortunately, if you are not born into wealth or you're not able to generate a lot of wealth in a short period of time, you have to take debt. That's the society we base on. Our government. Our own economy grows because of taking on debt. It's just the world we live in. In the 1950s, we moved from a savings to a debt-based system when people started taking out loans to go to or buy houses, go to college, buy cars and stuff like that. And it just grows and grows and grows and grows. And unfortunately, that's the society we are in. It is what it is. Now, being smart about your debt is different than not going into debt. All right, 2 more questions before we end it. Now, just so you guys are aware, next episode's coming up. We will be usually going a little bit longer than this, but Maria was obviously very, very busy. Top 3 reasons that you should buy a yacht. I'm sorry, top 3 reasons that you should buy a yacht? I would say you'd never buy a yacht. It's generally, it's much cheaper and much better to just rent a yacht because owning it, maintenance and dock fee and gas and all that is going to be way more expensive. I would say renting would be a better option there. What's the end of day YOLO? I have not looked at the stock market today. I had a good morning with some GM calls that made 35%, and I had some SPY plays. I also bought stock in. I also bought some Vans because speaking of Squid Games, we saw that Vans actually has reported a 7,800% increase in sales since Squid Games came out. Do you like us, Stocky? I love you guys. You guys are awesome. I would not trust you guys in the same house as I am if I was sleeping, but I like you guys. Yes, I do. As long as you keep subbing with your Prime. Where is the Twitch Prime button located? Great timing, sir. Listen. No, I'm just kidding. No. Hey, listen. If you don't waste your primes though. Do use them, guys. A lot of you guys do forget that they don't renew every month. So find your favorite streamer, or if you just can't find a favorite streamer and you just feel like giving to charity, hey, I'm always here. But is it called Twitch Gaming now? I believe. All right. One more question. Give me a good one. Someone give me a good one. Let's see. This is gonna be a troll question. I know it. I'm waiting. Here it is. Do you think @LittleBean is a nice person? Yes. But the type of person who's nice and will be loyal and caring and great and the best friend or whatever in the world, but the moment you cross that person, they will stab you. All right. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys. For those of you guys, is cereal a soup? We are not doing this yet. No, because it is cold. Soup is not cold. Soup is warm. Okay. If it is cold, it is not a soup. And I don't want to hear anything about, that, what is that Russian? Never mind. Whatever. Guys, thank you so much for coming to episode 1 of To the Moon with me, the Stock Guy, and today's guest, Maria Ho, which was an absolute amazing interview. It was awesome. I'm so glad she was our first guest. Guys, this will be every single Tuesday, same time, 12 Eastern Standard Time, United States. We will have a new guest every week, guys, for the next 7 weeks. So mark your calendar, hit that follow button, hit a remind me, join our Discord. There's reminders in there as well, guys. This was awesome. This was so much fun. I can't wait for the next episode. I look forward to it. Thank you guys so much for hanging out. Thank you for being a part of this. To the moon. As always, stay green, D-Gens. I'll see you next time. Bye.